Never and never again shall this beautiful land.
You are the so-called reporter. Ask them.
And they keep talking about me. And I don't want to hear that.
Anyway, bro. Welcome to Zambia What a Day. My name is Dingindaba Jonah Buyoya. Thank you so much for joining us here on this podcast. So what we do on a daily basis is just take a look at what's making news in our country and sometimes around the world, and then we talk about it. So, when we were building up to this podcast today, I came across a thought. And this thought was basically how thankless and meaningsless this job can be sometimes. And this came from the fact that a couple of days ago, I think it's Monday, I did Tuesday, I did a video. And I did this video which was explaining Zambia's fuel situation. So I did this video, one of the countless number of videos that I have done explaining things. And I shared it on different platforms. I shared it on X, I shared it on Facebook, and I shared it on TikTok. Then I noticed that on TikTok, a lot of people were talking. A lot of people were making reference, saying, "Oh, now you've been inspired by a certain lady from TRT." I haven't seen this lady yet, and I've just seen a lot of comments. I was so shocked. Why was I thinking about this? I was just thinking about it because this video is one of many videos that I've done, and I've been doing these videos since like 2022, which is basically compressing news and making it easier for people to understand. Maybe a lot of people from X can relate to this, but what I found really interesting is that some of the comments were rather condescending, right? Like, "Oh, Zambian journalists, it had to take Shan Yokotu." And I was thinking to myself, this is why I always reach a point of thinking it's a useless job, a thankless job, where you have thousands of people who don't really, like, you have thousands of people judging your work, right? If you are a banker, for example, I like to give the example of a banker or an engineer. You are accountable only to your boss and the organization you work for. You don't have people on the internet telling you how you should do your job. Maybe people do, but like you're not parading yourself before people on a daily basis for them to judge whether you're good at your job or not. And that's basically what this is. So you spend a lot of time working on something and then you share it with people, and they evaluate it as if it's some sort of exam. You are good at your job and you are not good at your job. And I find that really frustrating. That's why I was saying before the podcast started that it is sometimes a meaningless job. You can't keep doing this. That's why people stop doing it. You can't keep doing a job that is just there to amuse people, like just for people's amusement and then entertainment. When you're not an entertainer, because I'm not an entertainer, right? I'm not an entertainer. I'm a person that is doing what is ideally supposed to be a job that changes, that has an impact in people's lives and an impact on society, but it ends up just being for the amusement and for the entertainment, which is rather meaningless. It's great for people who are entertainers, because I think people are called to do these things. If you're an entertainer and people are getting entertained by what you do, great. But if your purpose is a bit different, it kind of becomes meaningless. And I see that, like, even when I do some work that I'm quite satisfied how it is received, and not that it's received in a negative way, even when you receive it in a positive way, but the connotation that you attach to the receipt of that is that how amusing it is for you, how entertaining it is for you, and how it's shocking that somebody from Zambia can do something like this becomes really meaningless for me. Like, the job seems like, why am I even doing this, right? I'm a human being. Why am I subjecting myself to all of this? Yeah, that's what I've been thinking. And also, you are parading yourself. It's not as if you're parading yourself before people who actually know what you're doing. You are parading yourself before people who actually don't know what you're doing. Even when you are explaining something, you're explaining it from an informed point of view, but they're explaining it, they're understanding it from a layman's point of view, which sometimes you engage in arguments with people who have absolutely no idea what's going on, and what you're talking about. So can be frustrating, but let's do it because it also pays the bills. So let's do it today and get back to business. But the Lusaka City Council has demolished stores, and these were constructed along the Lumumba Road drainage in Lusaka, leaving over 500 traders stranded. Let's take a look at this.
Ashokerera pano ezobwera usiku bashokerera waisenze omulesa muzake lero just cause ankalana nankane ankala sati
We are busy crying, losing our jobs.
Over 500 traders have been left stranded at Lumumba following the demolition of stores owned by Kalunga Steels. The demolition was carried out at midnight by a combined team of the Lusaka City Council and Zambia Police. This action follows an order by the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Gary Nkombo, and the Minister of Health, Elijah Mchima, as part of the efforts to maintain order in the area. However, the traders have expressed outrage over the decision as they scramble to salvage what they can from the debris.
This is the life of people. This is where people live. This is where people survives. It's not all about the power. It's about how people feels and how people listens to the whole community. You say that you pray and you go to church every time, and you say that you are a prayer, and rion semula ya ku church no kupepa. Ukupepa kwenu kwa mapesa.
Kansela. Masa. Machoka kumnyauri huko. Kumnyauri.
What has happened today is really bad. Why should the leadership treat us like this, as though we're not humans?
Alimbikira kansela. Vame mnashtika mulungu.
Before they start demolishing, what
are we going to do next? We do not have where to go. Traders ask, what's next?
What is coming next after demolishing this? Because some of us were some shops this side.
Kind of a cancer with this one, because as a cancer you have to stand for the people, but we are busy destroying lives of the people. People are crying, we are losing jobs. What are we going to survive? We are waiting to take our children to school, but him will just come and demolish this place. What kind of cancer he is? Just like a very big demon, because you cannot have destroy people's lives without conscience. You have to have, as a human being, you have to see the heart of the people. We cried, we begged him to say, please, give us some time so that we can able to survive, but he was just busy. He was just laughing at us.
My family is my brothers, my cousins.
The timing about the demolition is really bad. This is the time we need money more than ever. The Lusaka City Council justifies the decision, citing the need for better organization and sanity.
Various notices were previously issued to the traders at the Kalunga Steel by the council, but the instructions were ignored. The erection of illegal structures violates the Urban and Regional Planning Act number 3 of 2015. Therefore, the council would not hesitate to demolish any structure built illegally within the city and any structure that is not designated for trade.
These stores have long been surrounded by controversy, leaving affected traders to grapple with uncertainty about their future. Victoria Kayeye, Yambani, Demo News.
Yeah, I spoke about this, I think, on Monday, this story, that it is a reflection of what our society is. Because how on earth did people get approval to construct these stores on a pavement? next to a drainage. It's, first of all, unsafe. It's unsanitary. Why on earth is it happening in the first place? That's just a reflection of our society and how we are designed, which is very unfortunate because some of these things are fixable things. For it to reach a point, there should be no demolition. It just demonstrates that our systems don't work. That's what it demonstrates. That's what it demonstrates. There should be no demolition because the demolition only happens because there was a construction. So there should have never been a construction in the first place. Where are the people responsible? Why do they only come up when somebody has done something like this? Why do they only come up when people are going to be puking and having diarrhea? Why does it take this for such action to be taken? I always wonder what it is. And I think I was saying it on Diamond Live, and I always think to myself, is there even going to be a time when this is going to be sorted out? Like, we will never be in such a situation again. I always wonder this. But here we are. 5 days have passed since flash floods wreaked havoc in Lusaka's Kabanana West, located in Mandevu constituency. The devastating floods left dozens of families displaced, with many now struggling to find shelter and basic necessities. Let's take a look at this.
I'm stepping into a living room here, which housed a family 6 days ago. This roof over my head was a bedroom across from the sitting room, but now the wall has fallen off. What happened here is a disaster that has displaced families, and people have no shelter, they've got no food, and they have lost lifetime investments of documents and also properties. What does this tell you? It gives you a stark reminder of the rainy season as it continues, and preparedness in flood-prone areas, and also poor planning in urban areas as well as drainage systems. I get to speak to families who have first-hand horrific experience of what transpired here on Friday night. I get to hear from them. How are they surviving? How are they coping with their children and with nothing to eat, or perhaps their mattresses that were drenched or submerged in rainwater? We hear from them.
Mungani wane mwenye inaonekana kulibe kupumula kulibe kunkala because drainage kuja yonse inapanyika. So manzi yativuta ulongati yapanga makumbi timankandi soolira every time chabe utata tiona munga tiboma yatu inatisirira munga mwitina kambira pali utati boma ititandizire ngati kulima any means yamina ngati tandizire chabe utatandizire tifuna drainage iwame because now so hapa mintilili tibe chakudya tibe ma blankets muzako na bonse bebanyikiwa ma mattresses yonse yaja venanga nati anota mipando yonse iyi kulibe muntu konkara kulibe so tivutika na manja bativutika tipempa kwa batipasa kuva kudya batipasa kwa blankets na vina vile nikafunikire pa moyo wa muntu because every day we need food tifata nkala pabwino so mvura iyi yatonongesa vintu vambiri maningi venanga ma documents menza ma students vintu vavo vinaononga onse vanita disperse manyumba yawo mwene mwaonera monga mwene mwapimira mwene mwayangala mmonso mulibe vantu so venangu tinawo munyumba tisungana nakangoti tizaita bwanje mulibe mawindo.
We'll get to see that as the weeks approach, learners will be preparing to go back to school. But what does that say for families here? Because I interacted with a young lady when I was here on Saturday. She told me that she even showed me her school bag that had been submerged in water. She showed me her uniforms, which she couldn't recognize because they were drenched in muddy water. So begs the question, how will these families manage to take their kids to school with this prevailing circumstance? There's so much at stake for families here. As you can see, there are clothing items that are hanging in the house because the weather is unpredictable and they don't know how the weather will be this evening. I can't even make a step further forward because, as you can see, heaps of mud here show you how dangerous it might be not just for me, but perhaps for the kids that might want to play here. So, but this is the reality of families here. This is the situation prevailing here in Kabanana West. I engaged the area councillor on Saturday. Even today, I spoke to him. What are you doing about this urgent disaster that's happening here? Mr. Boniface Wadia told me that he had engaged the district commissioner as well as the disaster management and mitigation unit for them to come and assess the conditions prevailing here. However, my interaction with members of this community have proven otherwise. They tell me that that has not been the case. The councillor or any official from DMMU for that matter did not visit this place. They linger to the public for help. And they urge their leaders, could you come to our aid? With utmost urgency, they ask. My name is Elfi Mwale Shampande for Diamond News.
Like I said on the last episode, I just hope these people find it easier. And this rain is only going to continue, which is one of the things about life, isn't it? We've been struggling with rain by virtue of not having it for over a year now, and now it's here, and it leaves a trail of destruction. So I guess it's a give and take. It's unfortunate that the give is people's livelihoods. We have to thank God, though, that nobody has lost their life so far in all of this. And then, you won't believe who's going back to jail. I really feel this is so sad, isn't it? That Mumbi Phiri once again is facing a non-bailable offense. And this time around, it's on aggravated robbery charges. You remember that in 2023, she spent a year in prison. And then she was acquitted of a murder charge that was related to the death of UPND supporter Lawrence Banda. Let's take a look at this story first.
Former Patriotic Front Deputy Secretary General Mumbi Phiri is back in the spotlight, facing fresh charges of aggravated robbery, an unbailable offense under the Zambian law. The 56-year-old politician who made headlines between 2022 and 2023 after being incarcerated for a year on murder allegations related to the death of UPND supporter Lawrence Banda now faces accusations of stealing cash and personal property. The new charges involve the alleged theft of 20,000 kwacha in cash and an Infinix phone valued at 3,800 kwacha, property which is said to belong to Bodwin Chilambikwa of Kwamba district in Wapula province. Police have accused Ms. Phiri of leading a group of people during the incident, identifying another suspect as Peter. A taser gun was reportedly used during the incident, adding a layer of seriousness to the accusations. Ms. Phiri's latest legal troubles have ignited a heated public debate. Center for Trade Policy and Development CTPD Executive Director Isaac Mwaipopo has dismissed the charges as flimsy, questioning their legitimacy. On his Facebook page, he writes, and I quote, "A few things for me. Number one, charges seem flimsy. It would have been made more sense to just invite her to assist with investigations, as the target seems to be Peter. Number two, the minister had given the victim 20,000 kwacha for fuel. Looks like our ministers traveled sacks of money into these constituencies when they go for campaigns." End of quote. And Lusaka-based lawyer Celestine Mkandila has raised concerns about the handling of the case, arguing that it falls within the jurisdiction of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ.
It is very shocking that we have reached levels where, before even the Electoral Commission of Zambia Dispute Resolution Committee can sit to determine most of these matters, the UPND has jumped into influencing their police to jump and charge perpetrators or suspected perpetrators of offences.
Ms. Phiri's legal challenges have once again drawn attention to the political and judicial landscape in Zambia, with critics speculating about possible political undertones behind her arrest. The latest case raises questions about the broader implications for the opposition political party, the Patriotic Front, as well as the role of justice in politically charged cases. Ms. Phiri remains in custody as investigations continue, with many waiting to see how this latest chapter in her political and legal career unfolds. And if found guilty and convicted, she is serving a maximum jail term of 15 years. Devastate, Jonah Buyoya.
You know, the allegation that she stole 20,000 kwacha and an Infinix phone, I highly doubt that she did this, honestly. And I believe that there's a context in which this happened. I think there's a context in which this happened. But this is one of those things that you don't want to see happening. I don't think she stole 20,000 kwacha and an Infinix phone. And you'll probably be able to see that through this trial. But what is unfortunate is for her to go back to jail just soon after she was released. You know, she spent like a year behind bars, and both offenses are non-bailable. So she has to be there until the end of the trial. Her first was murder, when she was acquitted for that, and then now it's aggravated robbery. Eesh. The Ministry of Health has confirmed that the cholera outbreak in Nakonde district in Muchinga province has been brought under control following a series of interventions. Look at this.
And the ministry has been working tirelessly to combat the outbreak, which has since been put under control. Congratulations, Madam Tamatama, Public Health Unit in my office. As of today, we have not recorded any new cases in the last 4 days. However, we have treated 17 patients through our cholera treatment centers in Nakonde district with no deaths recorded. So far, all the 17 patients have been discharged to their homes. We have 0 admission of this morning. Nakonde and the rest of the country remain on high alert for disease outbreak or spread into new areas. Congratulations. All chlorine vaccinations have been commenced, targeting high-risk populations of Nakonde district.
It's good to hear that it's been contained. It shouldn't happen in the first place, but I think that the ministry deserves commendation for the fact that it didn't spiral out of control, because we know what happens when it does. The last time that we had this outbreak, there was 700 people that died, and you don't want that. You don't want to lose that many people in preventable disease, and we hope that the future could be better. I also found it a bit peculiar that vaccines were sent to Nakonde after the outbreak. The vaccines and the idea of vaccines is that they should prevent disease. And so majority of the country must be vaccinated by now. There isn't a huge demand for cholera vaccines around the world. And so they shouldn't be very expensive. Zambia is actually considering making, is planning on making a cholera vaccine plant here in Zambia. And so we should be having a majority of the population vaccinated against cholera, especially in densely populated areas. It would be very, very helpful in preventing the loss of life, although that vaccine tastes horrible. I've tasted it. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. My goodness. Oh. It doesn't taste like anything, but it tastes terrible. I can taste it now. Anyway, we're done here. My name is Dingindaba Jonah Buyoya. Thank you for watching our podcast. See you tomorrow.